1 year ago marked the end of an era, the goodbye of an old friend, the day Battlefront 2 was cancelled. I remember waking up that day, checking my phone, seeing dozens of notifications, some people sad, some people freaking out. It was a really strange feeling that day, that week. Not something really anyone expected, and it seems as if the developers weren't expecting it to end themselves. But Disney and EA obviously had other plans. Battlefront 2's comeback and resurgence had run its course, the developers had delivered over 2 years of free content, and the decision was made to end support. Soul-crushing for a lot of players, but perhaps the right decision. How much bigger could Battlefront 2 really be at that point? The latest installation on console is over 100 gigabytes, and the game pushes the capabilities of the last gen's hardware. Still to this day, Battlefront 2 is one of the best looking games out there, and certainly the best looking Star Wars game. But why not continue support for next gen players on the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles? Why was it time to say goodbye? Hey everyone, it's Andrew. 1 year ago, Dennis Brandvold, the former lead Battlefront 2 developer, made a final post on EA's website. After 2+ years of free content, the vision for Star Wars Battlefront 2 is now complete. 25 free content updates and content from the Clone Wars, the sequels, the original trilogy eras. Battlefront 2 received more content and updates than any other Star Wars shooter ever made. Straight after the launch catastrophe and the microtransactions and loot boxes, the player base quickly diminished. People left, people weren't happy, everyone was upset, but it grew and grew in strength and size with each following update. And then, after the final Scarif update, it slowly shrank as the game became a little stale with no new content. Battlefront 2 had already done the impossible. EA and DICE had supported the game, brought it back to life with all the free content, and got so many fans interested in playing the updates, like the droidicas, the offline modes, instant action co-op, supremacy. The game took inspiration from the original Battlefront 2 and heavily focused on the nostalgia, which brought a lot of people back to relive their youth, while still keeping the game feeling fresh and unique. And then we had the shock announcement of support ending. And we thought it was all over. Sure, Battlefront 2 would live on, and you can, of course, still play the game, but it would never be the same again. Never again would we have that excited feeling waiting for a new update to drop, wondering what was coming next. However, Battlefront 2 would go on to do the impossible yet again, and have one of the largest resurgences no one was expecting. First off, in June last year, Battlefront 2 was free on PlayStation Plus, which saw around 6 million new players join the Battlefront, a huge spike, seeing as though before this, the total play count on PS4 was around 10 million. The number of downloads went from 10 million to 16 million in the space of 2 months. Ridiculous growth. But then, okay, things calmed down again. EA released Star Wars Squadrons, more time goes by, and we get to January. For 1 week, and 1 week only, Battlefront 2 is free on the Epic Games Store. And what do we see happen? More than 3 years after release, Battlefront 2 suddenly has more players than ever before. More than 19 million new players started playing Battlefront 2 on PC in a single week. A ridiculous, insane amount of people, a number that EA felt was worth sharing. What an achievement for a game that at this point is over 3 years old, had the worst launch of arguably any game in history, and the free content comeback pushed forward by the developers. But now, things have slowed down. A full year after the cancellation of the live service, and Battlefront 2 still has a great player base, but people are moving on, which makes us all wonder, what's next? Well, that's where I want to bring you guys in. I'm sure you all have your own ideas for what you'd like to see brought to Battlefront 3, if a Battlefront 3 will ever be made. So what's something you'd want to see in the game? What's something you felt Battlefront 2 was always missing? And do you think if there is a Battlefront 3 coming, will it be made by DICE and EA? Go and follow me on Twitter and reply to this tweet with your requests. Okay, so I want to loop back to talking about what the EA executives promised a few months ago. The now infamous double down comment. Back a few months ago during an EA investor call, EA's executives promised to double down on Star Wars games in the next few years, which you'd have to think would mean they want to deliver more Star Wars content than ever before. Remember, in their 8 or so years with the exclusive Star Wars license, EA have only released 4 AAA Star Wars titles: Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order, and Star Wars Squadrons, and also the mobile game Galaxy of Heroes. And since then, we haven't had any new Star Wars gaming announcements from from EA specifically. We know that EA no longer has an exclusive license with Disney to develop AAA Star Wars games, and we know of at least 5 Star Wars games currently in development, although only one from EA. The first game is of course LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga, being developed by TT Games and published by Warner Brothers. This game has had its second delay and is hopefully coming later this year, and the LEGO Star Wars license is separate from Disney's previous agreement with EA. Second, there's Star Wars Hunters, being developed and published by Zynga's Studios, which will be Zynga's first ever game not developed exclusively for mobile and handheld devices. That's supposed to release later this year. Third, there's the open world Star Wars game, being developed by Massive Entertainment and published by Ubisoft. This one will likely not be released or even revealed for a few years yet. Fourth, there's the Knights of the Old Republic remake, being developed by Aspyr, who are more well known for their Star Wars ports and re-releases like Star Wars Racer, Jedi Outcast, and more recently Republic Commando. They're supposed to be developing an updated remake of the classic game from 2003, and this will be one of their first games that's not just a port. And this game is yet to be officially announced, even though there's been several reputable leaks. And this game will have nothing to do with BioWare, EA's studio, who are the original KOTOR developers and also developed Star Wars The Old Republic. However, Aspyr have supposedly hired a handful of former BioWare developers to work on the KOTOR remake, seeing as though Aspyr and BioWare are both based in Austin, Texas. And fifth, the only EA game, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, currently in development at Respawn. No word yet on when this will be releasing, but it'll likely be at the end of this year or 2022. So only one of 5 currently known Star Wars games in development is being made by an EA studio, which makes us wonder, what are EA even up to? What are they doing behind the scenes? Do they have another studio working on something that we'll hear about soon? Because so far, there's been no indication that they've doubled down on anything. Recently, I made a video discussing each of EA's 20 game development studios and which ones have the resources or the know-how to build a new Star Wars game. I'll link that video here if you want to check it out, but basically there's 4 or 5 studios we know about that could potentially be working on a new Star Wars title at EA, based on what they've developed in the past. Last month, EA also released an article talking about how they're allowing their developers to make the games they want to make, rather than the games EA thinks they should be making. An example of this, Star Wars Squadrons, niche game for a specific Star Wars audience. And although this was one of EA's smaller titles, it's an example of the company's internal attitude following the Battlefront 2 launch mess up. They want to make the games developers want to make, which are the games the players want to play. Skate 4 is another example, one of the most requested games of the decade, which EA have decided to put the resources and team together to build because it's what players wanted. What started as damage control for EA with the free Battlefront 2 updates is now seemingly becoming a larger project for EA. It seems they want to change the company's image from money-hungry billionaire business to a company that listens and delivers on what their players want to see. That's why they released so many free Battlefront 2 updates, that's why they released Star Wars Squadrons, and hopefully also that's why they're currently doubling down on Star Wars games in the background. So hopefully with all that said, we'll see some news really soon about the future of EA Star Wars games. Even if it's not Battlefront 3, we all just want more. EA have the resources to make quality Star Wars games with incredible visuals and graphics and sound, and deliver unique experiences like Star Wars Squadrons and Fallen Order. So hopefully the executives stay true to their word, and we hear more about future EA Star Wars titles really soon. May the 4th is just around the corner, so who knows, maybe we'll hear something then. So what do you think is next from EA Star Wars? And if there ever is a Battlefront 3, what do you want to see in the game? Like I said earlier, go follow me on Twitter and reply to this tweet, and I'm going to share some of the suggestions in an upcoming video, which may or may not have 50 insane details involved. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming and everything else, and thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew, I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.